Going on, everybody? Today I got mail day to go over with you, I suppose. I received some more Digi-Battle cards through the Digi-Battle NEXT-GEN page ran by Jasper Mook, and I wanted to show off what I got. This is kind of my last order, kind of culminating the complete Digi-Battle NEXT-GEN collection, if you will. One thing I did, I went through and I picked up a bunch of the power option cards a second time so that I can have two decks built with them at the same time. So I kind of will just go over those a little bit first. There will be some of these that you've seen in other videos that I've done, but we'll just kind of show these off first and get into it real quick. This won't be super long, just want to kind of show off what I got in the mail basically. Got Shining Digivolution. This is a cool card, so lets you go to the next level regardless of requirements. Good card to kind of replace Ultimate Digivolution from the starter deck. Digi-Egg of Knowledge, Digi-Egg of Love, and Digi-Egg of Courage. There it is. These three here, these are the kind of the eggs for the Fox Kids promos that originally came with the magazine. As part of Digi-Battle NEXT-GEN, we have made them into finalized cards as well. But these would be the eggs you would need to be able to play the Fox Kids promos. Then we had two of the D-Power Digivice, the red-green, as well as the green-yellow. These are just kind of the second-gen Digivices used for some of the Digimon that came in the later sets after 1 and 2. Originally you just used the regular Digivice, but they eventually switched to these, so I had a couple extra copies of these made. Digivolution E, any rookie to champion, regardless of the requirements. Now, one thing you have to use with this one is you have to send a rookie Digimon from your hand offline. This one doesn't see a ton of play, especially with the way the decks are being built nowadays, where you have less rookies in the deck, but it is still a good option if you want to kind of slot in an extra rookie to have a guaranteed way to get off of your main level. That said, it's still probably better to just run something like Shiny Digivolution or just get your regular champions out. Oh, there's a D-Power Digivice yellow as well, and red. I wonder if there's a green tucked in there. There's not. Okay. I think there is also a green as well. He didn't have a second copy of all of them in stock, so I just grabbed everyone that I could. But just yellow, just yellow, and just red as well. Then we've got Metal Armor. Use this card to digivolve any Digimon requiring a Digi-Egg. This is a good card. It's like Shiny Digivolution, but it lets you go into Digi-Armor Digimon specifically. That's nice, as well as Armor duplication. I was trying to say duplication. Not a word, don't worry about it. They kind of do the same things. They have slightly different requirements. This one requires you to send a vaccine-type Digimon from your hand offline. This one requires a data type, but same effect overall. Then we've got Offensive B. Change your type to green and add 100 points to your green power. This is great. It's like the cards that I tell you to run in every one of these videos. The A, B, and C. Those three always get ran, and this one is just kind of even better. Defensive C, change your type to yellow, add 100 points. Defensive F, this one's great. Void an opponent's field card effect. Now this is a card that will mean very little to you if all you've played is the first and second sets, but as the game went on, there were field cards that were added, and Digi-Battle NEXT-GEN has included them in the cards you can get, but they essentially kind of come into play and they have an active effect based on if you have like a vaccine type Digimon in play, do this thing. So it just kind of helps with if you're playing like a single type deck, they're used for that. This voids that card's effect. Change your type to green. Change your green Digimon to the same points as red Digimon power. Okay, so you get to keep your power, but just becomes whatever the power of your red attack is. Add 350 points to your Digimon power. Score 300 points when you win the duel. To use this card, reduce 300 points from your score. So there's some pros and cons to this card. One of the big downsides is losing 300 points, but gaining 300 if you win is pretty great, because you'll get 100 if you win as well, at least, if not more, depending on the stage you're at. The 350 points is going to make your power a lot bigger. And then if you use this when you have, say you're like right at 300 points, you use this, put yourself to 0, win, and go to 400. Not only have you won the fight, you've gained the regular advantage you would have gained anyway. 350 points is way more points than any other general card in the game adds. I've told you before about Black Gears and Spiritual Ring and how they add 100 points and how that's great. This is 350 with a couple extra steps. Great card. Send an opponent's power option card offline. Great. There's a option eater card that voids a power option card. This one just sends one offline that's kind of already sitting there. That's great too. Just any kind of disruption that you can kind of add into your deck is always a positive thing. Offensive V, 300 points to your Digimon power when you don't have any special effect. There are a lot of Digimon that don't have special effects, so this is great, and it's a great way to make kind of vanilla Digimon a little bit stronger. Offensive W, add 50 points to your power if you have a special effect to add... add 50 points to your Digimon power when your Digimon has special effect to add power. Change that point to 100 points. Okay. So you get 50 points if your Digimon... So really, you're gaining like 100 points off of this. So there are some Digimon cards, for example, one of the babies we talked about in the last thing that said all of your Greymon's powers are increased by 50. Well, this will add 50 to it because it has a power that adds points, and then it will change the power that it's already giving to 100, so it's really giving like an additional 100 points. Also a cool card. We had a couple of the kind of more black templated power option cards. These are a lot more of your just kind of standard effects. This adds 50 points to your power. You just discard 2 cards from your hand. Not an awesome card, but sometimes 50 points is 50 points. 100 points to your power if you have fight. That's good. Now another thing here, these are really cool because they stay on the power port until you choose to get rid of it. You lose, it gets voided, or your online deck goes to 0. So these are like permanent 100-point boosts that stay in play. So this stays in play if you have fight. This also is basically that card again. If you have fight, get 100 points. Reduce 80 points from your opponent's Digimon power when your opponent has a virus Digimon in their hand. Platinum Sword, 200 points to your Digimon power when your Digimon is a warrior. In addition, when your opponent has any Digimon with the type Data in their hand, decrease their power by 200 points. So it can be like a 400-point swing if you can hit one of those in their hand. One of the things that's kind of weird about these kind of cards with this effect is that it requires your opponent to like be honest with their hand, which is always kind of a weird gray area in card games, because I don't get to see your hand. You don't show me the cards in your hand when I use this effect. You just have to honestly say, yes, I've got it, or no, I don't. And realistically, there's not like a judge or something, in these dead games to like call if I think you lied to me. So it's just kind of a weird thing. Granted, if you're just playing with your friend, most of you are going to be on it. There's no real reason to lie to your friend for a casual game. But I've always thought those were kind of strange effects. Add 200 points to your Digimon power when your type is virus. In addition, when your opponent has any cards with the virus in their hand, decrease it by 200. Same thing, but it's for virus instead of, Data. And then your opponent has to draw 2 cards at the beginning of every attack phase. Reduce 100 points from their score every time a power option card is drawn. Those cards must be offline after drawn. That's super strong. And then this one stays in play too. You can't use this if your score is more than 400 points, though, so you have to, you gotta play this early. Arrow Wing, you get Fly. As an additional special ability, Fly, you get Fight if you're a Dragon Digimon. This gives you 50 points if you have Fire. 200 points, you get Fire. 400 points if you have Mode in the name. Add 300 additional points if you're an Imperial Dramon. There is an Imperial Dramon Dragon mode. There's an Imperial Dramon Fighter mode. So this card is really for them. This is kind of Imperial Dramon's weapon. There's also various Omnimons and stuff like that. But, and hell, there's even like Greymon Ultras mode and stuff like that too. So Rise Greymon Burst mode, things like that. So there's plenty of cards that can use this, and it's a huge buff. Lightspeed Arrow, this card is incredible. Reduce 100 points from your opponent's score when the Digimon cards in their opponent's hand is less than half their entire hand. Another one of those cards where your opponent has to be honest about their hand. I don't love it, but the benefit is, I mean, let's be honest. The way we've talked about this game, I've told you that like the best Digimon decks that you can build have like 10 Digimon in them. So the chances of your opponent having less Digimon in their hand than they do other cards is massive. The goal is to have mostly this kind of card in your hand. That's what you want when you build a good deck. So this card just takes advantage of that. Rapid Arrow, 100 points to your score if you have Fight. 100 points if you have Fight. As you can tell later in the game, the Fight cards got a lot of support. Training Gear, 100 points to your Digimon power. Additionally, you can use any power option card at opponent's attack phase before their option cards are placed. So this card's cool. You get essentially, the way that the game works is if you won the last battle, you go first. So it becomes like your attack phase. But if your opponent won, it's their attack phase. But this card lets you play. It lets you play cards during their turn. Or, well, first, even when they should be the one going first. And you play this during the Digivolve phase, so you play this card like a Digivolve card. And then it basically says, this turn you were supposed to go first, but I am. Cool card. When you and your opponent's battle type are the same, you take the same amount of his or her... When you and your opponent's battle type are the same, you take the same amount of his or her... I think that's probably his or her Digimon, after all option cards have been played. Oh, the same... Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Data duplicator. So if your Digimon both have the same type, after all cards are played, if for some reason their type had changed, you become the same type. Miracle Ruby, send an opponent's field card offline, you lose 100 points to your score. As the field cards became more relevant later in the game, this kind of thing became important. Sacred Fruit, this card's great. Take the highest Digimon power on your Digimon card regardless of the type. If two powers are the same, you choose which one you want. Special Bandage, avoid the BO50 Power Freeze card. That's the Sleepy Greymon card that, or we call it Sleepy Greymon, but it's got Greymon sleeping, and it voids a Digivolve card. This one basically lets you void that void. Grapple Chip, double your score when your Digimon has Fight and wins the duel. Digi-Egg Booster A, reduce 100 points from the opponent's score when your Digimon has Digi-Egg of Light, Hope, or Kindness on their requirements. To use this card, send one required Digi-Egg card from your hand offline. So like you can really kind of build around this, right? So you can use the Shiny Digivolution, you can use the Armor Duplication and stuff like that to count as the Digi-Eggs you would need so that you can keep them in your hand to burn this kind of card. And then there are a ton of Digimon that use Light, Hope, and Kindness as their Digi-Egg, so this is a really cool card. Booster B, Courage, Friendship, and Love, same thing, but different eggs. Also plenty of them for that. Fire Crystal, add 100 points if you have Fire. Spiritual Crystal, make your opponent's power 0 for this battle when your opponent is Rookie, Champion, or Ultimate. Really cool. You can't use this if you're a Rookie or a Mega, so you've got to be kind of right in the middle of the road, but you just got to make their power 0 as long as they're not a Mega. It's an awesome card. I use this one a lot. Air Power, your opponent your Digimon, your opponent's Digimon, or both will acquire or lose the special ability Fly. Make a choice. You just basically get to give everything Fly or get rid of Fly for everything. Here, everything gets Swim, everything gets Dig. Reverse the target of power option card requiring Fly, Dig, Swim, and Fight. So if your opponent's gonna like, alright, I'm gonna give my card with Fight 100 points, this reverses it and you get 100 points. Digi-Beetle. Switch your rookie Digimons on the duel zone and in your hand at the attack phase. There are reasons to play this. You can get kind of tricky with like, oh man, I'm on my rookie level, my green is not going to beat your guy, but if I switch to this other rookie, maybe their green will beat yours. So it is kind of a nice little tech, but the nice thing about this one though is that it does stay in play, so you just kind of get to play it and it just sits there, and every turn you can just switch out. And lastly, we've got Trinity Attack. Triple your Digimon power when you have War Growlmon, Taomon, and Rapidmon cards in your hand. This is a really hard card to use, but is also like fun thematic. These are the top kind of levels of the second season, third season, I guess. And it's like their finishing ultimate attack thing, and to be able to have a card that does it is pretty cool. It's one I will probably never actually play. Maybe I'll try to build a deck with this sometime just for the sake of it, but I won't really use this card much. I just like the idea of it being a thing, and I really just picked up a second copy of every extra card he had. Alright, that's the end of the power options. I've got a few more. We're going to get into a couple of Digimon here. This little chunk that we're going to do, he took the Taco Bell promo run, which was originally 12 cards, and he kind of extended it into an additional amount of cards. So for Taco Bell 13, we've got Metal Garurumon. You get just regular Mega Score. You get 300 points when you Digivolve to it. I have a bunch of the ones kind of in the middle already, so I was missing 13, but I've got up to 21. So I'll just sort of start at 22 here. Got a really cool Skull Greymon with some good stage requirements. It's a little more accessible than some of the weird stuff that the other one needed. Got a Lady Devimon. I really like all the arts that he picked for these Taco Bell promos. I think it's funny to say that they're new Taco Bell promos. Number 24, Skull Satamon. Ooh, XVmon can go into him, that's cool. Andromon, High Andromon, evolves off Andromon, Metal Mamamon, or War Growlmon. Hey, there we go, for the War Growlmon deck we were just talking about. A new Piedmon, also really cool art. Got a Gigimon. A Sakuyamon, this card's really cool. I really like the art on that. The different little wolves is cool. Or foxes, I guess. Got a new Black War Greymon. This one's awesome. Really fun Digivolution forms too. Good powers. And finally we've got a Chimeramon. One you can kind of actually use. Great forms to be able to get into. The old one only digivolved off of like Mamamon or something, so now you have a Chimeramon you can actually use. Then he did a couple more cards for the movie promos. For Digimon, the first movie, there was originally, 12 promos for that as well, and he kind of added a couple more that felt like they sort of should have been a part of it. So we've got a new Angemon here, Patamon and Elecmon. Angemon was a big part of the movie, so it made sense to have a card. Had an Angelwomon as well. Angemon and Gatomon also makes a lot of sense. And another just sort of important character that doesn't get enough love. And finally, a Seraphimon, Magna Angemon, Mega Seedramon or Angelwomon. Just a final form for those two You get 300 points when you Digivolve like any regular Mega, but just a nice little cap to an important part of the movie, and just cool to have. I just think it's a fun little idea to kind of expand the promos that we were already used to, adding a couple promos to existing sets. Speaking of adding to sets, we've got 3 more of the cereal promo from the Shreddies promotion. I was informed by a buddy from across the pond that Shreddies is a cereal that exists. He's over in the UK and they have that there. Apparently not particularly delicious, but it exists still, so funny to see that. So we can say that these come from the new current Shreddies cereal. You're never going to find them in a box, but we can, for the sake of the laugh, we can say that's where they come from. Got a Matt, got an Izzy, and we've got a Joe. I already have a couple of these. I had Ty and I had I don't even remember the other one I had. Oh well, I have 2 of them, and now I've got 3 more. And we do have a couple of foils here at the end. This one's Kari, one additional one. Now, Kari didn't originally have a cereal promo. These ones actually did exist. These are real. Well, they're fake, but they're real in the sense that these were real cards. So these are just sort of like proxy printed copies of that for the collection's sake. But Kari never got a card of her own, and he went ahead and made one. Does kind of exactly what the other ones do, and keeps it simple. We've also got a 7 Great Demon Lords. DNA, Demon Lord, Demon Lord, Demon Lord. So this card, the idea of this is it's kind of like the villain version of Miracle 4. Stats are pretty similar. The kind of Digivolve requirements are the same. It's basically got everyone pictured on the card. It'll be a fun card to kind of cap off the Demon Lord deck that he's released enough cards for. Maybe I'll do one of those as a future profile here. Then we've got Metal Edamon here. Now in the actual real set of the game, there are only 2 cards I'm still missing, Metal Edamon and Skull Mammothmon for whatever reason. So he just threw in a copy of Metal Edamon. In the game, this card is foil, so he made a foil of this for me, threw it in as just kind of a placeholder till I get one of my own. Metal Edamon really is like, I don't know, $5 or something. I just haven't pulled the trigger on grabbing one. But he just threw this in for me as a way to just kind of fill the binder out in the meantime. And speaking of filling out the binder, Metal Greymon, the Digimon World promo. Another one that I have just not pulled the actual trigger on nabbing. It was like $50 or $60 for a while. Now it's like $110, $150. Just kind of gets kind of crazy sometimes. So just to have a copy to even have in the binder to fill out all the promo slots is exciting. Plus another Metal Greymon for the Greymon deck is also interesting. Greymon, Vidramon, Devimon, good forms to come off of too. Just a cool card and iconic artwork. That's the last of what I've got today. Thanks for hanging out. I just wanted to show off a little bit of mail. I love this whole Digi-Battle NEXT-GEN thing. I've beaten it to death by this point now, with as many videos as I've put out, and I'm sorry, but you're going to have to deal with some more. I love this game. I love what this has done for the game, and I'm so excited to see what else can be dredged out of this game that everyone thought was bad. There really is a lot to be had, a lot of fun to be had, especially if you pick up some of this next-gen stuff with 400 plus new cards to add to the, like if you're just playing set 1 and 2 format, like the original templates, you can do so much more with it now. It's amazing. Anyway, appreciate it. As always, stay tuned for more.